Hi friends. One thing that's super important in college algebra is knowing what to do based on the instructions that we are given. So in this video, I want to talk about how we're going to approach problems that say solve. So when your instructions say solve, that is a really good clue that our answer is going to look like a variable equals something. So our answer will be something like x equals, it could be one number, it could be two numbers, it could be 3 or 4 even. But the important thing is we're going to have a variable equal to something. So we'll know when to stop when we have that variable equal to a value. Now another option might be an interval notation. So something that looked like a -2 to 4. Okay, just for example, that could be another answer if it said solve and write in interval notation. So I'm going to write up that interval notation. But when we see solve, it's going to generally be one of those two things. Now, let me expand on that a little bit. If we are solving a quadratic equation, now that means an equation, so it has an equal sign, and its exponent, its highest exponent is 2. So a quadratic equation and we'll write down its most important pieces. So the exponent is 2. And it has an equal sign. Equal sign makes it an equation, and that means it can be solved. If there's no equal sign, we can't solve it. We may be able to simplify it, but we can't solve it. All right, so if I have a quadratic equation, and I know that because exponents 2 has an equal sign, there's 3 main ways that I can solve this. Let's make a list. The first one is to solve by factoring. Now, many students don't like factoring. I get that. It's challenging. However, it does form the basis for college algebra. So it is worth your time to be good at factoring. So the first and the most straightforward method when you are solving a quadratic equation is solve by factoring. I have a whole video on solving by factoring, so I would encourage you to make sure you watch that one. Even if you don't like factoring, this is generally the easiest way to solve it if it can be factored. Now the second way to solve a quadratic equation is going to be solved by the square root property. And again, I have a whole video on that, so I want to encourage you to check that one out as well. The third method is solve by quadratic formula. And hey, guess what? I have a whole video on that one too. Now, this is the order we want to go in from least difficult to most difficult. Many students want to just jump to that quadratic formula. Here's why I would caution you against that. There's a lot of computation in quadratic formula, which means there's a lot of places to go wrong. So that one, only if you have to. So please check out these 3 videos that will give you very specific instructions on solving a quadratic equation. Now, if you are solving we could be solving all sorts of things. An absolute value equation. Something with a degree higher than 2. A polynomial equation. Or an inequality. These 3 are all going to end up with an answer that looks like x equals something or an interval. but we're going to approach them slightly different. I do have a video on absolute value equations that I would encourage you to check out. Degree bigger than 2 and inequality will be covered in your college algebra class.